So I am very grateful for the invitation and also very grateful for Professor Yao Xing-Tong for actually creating all these wonderful awards and also more importantly, encouraging the younger people to participate. So I would like to share my own career path and also hopefully that, that can have some encouragement to the future generation. So I'll use about 20 minutes to share and using some slides. And by the way, my name is Mei-Po and I'm the head of Chung College and also, like Choh-Ming Lee Professor of Geography and Resource Management and Director of ISCIS at CUHK. So, well, something about me. I mean, this talk actually, to prepare this talk, actually make me think about, my career path and when I was young, when I was young. And then I think and I was born and raised in Hong Kong. So I'm really a local. And also I went to the Chinese University of Hong Kong and Chung College, as you can see in the picture. The Chung College, the CUHK buses, like the shuttle bus, actually look the same, when I was graduating a long time ago. And then I was graduated with a degree in geography at CUHK. And also I went off to the United States to study my master degree and also my PhD at UCLA and UC Santa Barbara. And then I worked there for about, 30 years before I came back to Hong Kong, going back to my Automata and then my CHK and Chung Chi College and become a head of the. So I think that, when I think about my career and so in Hong Kong education, in the high school education, then it's very, very divided into the humanities and the STEM education, very clear cut. Yeah, so very early on. So, and then the problem of me is that I like all of them. I am very good into, this is a mathematic competitions and I wish that there was a Yao Award. I was very good at mathematics and then in math, I'm always ahead of my teachers. And it was, like my favorite subject. And physics and chemistry, science subject, I was number one in all my classes. And however, I also like the humanities, like the Chinese language. And then the literature, history, philosophy, I like them all. And I think I'm fortunate that I was good at all of them. So it was a pretty I think that, I can pretty much handle all of them. I never ranked second in any subjects and any of the classes, grades. But that also posed a very big problem to me is that what do I like? So it's very difficult for me to decide on what do I study. But in Hong Kong, the education in high school that is boxes, that we cannot really call cross. And then so they usually label you as some kind of subjects and then fix you on that. So and then that actually has a big implication for in the future because I am not be able to fix in a box. So I always think about, how, because I think that all those are, are complementary and then we can actually cross a boundary. So why do I want to talk about this is because in the future, actually, this is one of my major contribution to the field, to my discipline. And then one of my paradigm shifting, contribution to my field is actually is crossing the boundary. When people ask me what is the future of geography, I propose hybrid geographies that is crossing the arts and humanities and the social and then also the scientific and physical, geography, and then crossing the boundary to propose the hybrid. And then that actually changed, the whole field. And that is why later on you can see that I'm getting many awards. And so I think that that is what like some of my background actually contribute to the future, like a career path and academia and thinking of me. So, and then like many high school students, I began without a clear passion or particular interest. I like them all, but I also, drawback of this is that I also don't know what I really, really want to focus on. The soul searching is actually, is a long process, and I would like to explore different subjects, activities, and then so in that time, actually, medicine, of course, is the major. And my teacher said, "Why don't you go into?" It's a very prestigious and extremely important subject. Only very few elite can go to, and also of course the business school, and also is a very popular. And I'm not saying that those are not good; those are extremely good, especially these days. My relatives and went to see the doctors, and they're so helpful. And I think that this is really really important subject. However, but not they can only admit few people, and also not everybody's passion is there. So I think that like being so rebellious at that age, for me, then I want to do something different. And I always think that for example, I do something very different in matriculation examination. And when I'm going to take the Chinese literature exam, then I will study English literature. And I just want to show that, I'm different, at that age. By the way, it's only at that age. Now I'm, of course not. So I just think that, is there any other path, other than, what people are usually do? So I went into Chung College and then CUHK, again, without too much determination about what I want to study. And then in the beginning, I want to study Chinese literature and also mathematics. So I think it's the very different way. So I'm not having a very big focus, but good that, like the college system at CUHK really provide us with a very general, education. And, like the first year is actually very open. So I was, like people are promoting, oh, we need to be having, like both the virtuous and talent master. And then we need to have, the good conduct and also have good talent and also have the spiritual. And the general education made me think independently, seek the truth, and be reasonable, ethical, and legal. So, and also teach us how to face and solve problems. So I think that all this foundation of the GE, of the general education, actually provide me with a much broader perspective of my future career. So I'm really grateful to that. So actually, that's probably one of the big reasons why when I came back to CUHK, I became the head of the Chung-Chi College. And so my soul searching, also come, like with my quest like social justice and social inequality. At that time, I also really be thinking about the wealthy people and the poor people, and then their lives are so different, what they experience. And I'm thinking that can I do something to contribute, to, like to the society, and also our country, and of course, eventually the world. And thinking about geographically, looking from several hundred meters, like in a plane, or we can actually see, like the wealthy people and the poor people may, live very differently. But the major turning point is when I was joining Chung-Chi College exchange students, program to go to Japan for 1 year. And then I never really traveled outside Hong Kong at that time. So suddenly I went to ICU in Tokyo, and we stay in, in the Japanese culture. Actually, it's very different than the Chinese culture, even though there is all Asian. So at that time, I was exposed to different culture, and I was also, some very good, professors took me to around Japan and looking into how they build the harbor, how they plan a city. So actually that really is an eye-opening. And I found my vision and love, in the urban planning subject. So I began to looking into geography. So, I mean, combining my different strengths in language and science, conventional expectation, challenging the conventional expectation, and I decided to study geography to protect the environment, the well-being of the people. However, my trajectory doesn't fit in one box. Again, I think that like I went to the U.S. to study urban planning and then geographic information science, and this is a pretty, like a new subject for me. And I'll explain why they are not conventional geography that you would think. Again, for my trajectory of my career, and UCLA at that time is the top three urban planning school in the world. And when the geography, UCSB, GIS science is the top, is the number one in the world. So I was offered, a full scholarship at MIT for studying, like GIS. And then I think that UC Santa Barbara is number one. And at that time on that particular subject, so I think that, so again, I was not feeding in anybody's expectation and thinking about different things. So what my study is focusing on facing the grand challenges in the globally. For example, climate change and global warming, they're big issues, and that has many consequences. For example, in Hong Kong, we face, the severe, black rain, and of the decades, and then hurricanes and heavy rains in all over the places in Asia, also in the world. And then also in the polar center, polar, and then there's also different kind of evidence of a global climate change. And mental health crisis is also, worsened, in the world, especially after COVID-19. And then the mental health crisis also worsened in Hong Kong. So as we face these global challenges and how thematic, problems, and how do we look into the vast road ahead of the young people, and I want to share some of my thoughts with both with my academic, using my academic career, academic, like research, and also my personal, thinking. So the traditional geography focus on the forms and patterns of the environment and human beings, and that is something that we want to revolutionize. This is so like a map, right? I mean, everybody think about geography as a map, but actually it's not true. It's there's more to it than that. Yeah. So, for example, I'm also the director of the Institute of Space and Earth Information Science, and we do quite a lot of stuff. Yeah. For example, remote sensing, we also launched a satellite recently, and then also, and we have a study in carbon, emissions, and that is related to climate change. And then we also, use UAV, and then that is looking into the low altitude, economy, and also the sustainable development goals. So I think that geography is much broader than what people will think. We use geospatial AI and build AI models, and then looking into the virtual environment. So all this, are, also looking into the ground or Earth observation, and then we also look into human behavior. So then think about the daily mobility of environmental exposure. My research also touch using all this, new technology and AI models, and we also think about the daily mobility and environmental exposure. For example, all the way of how do people move around in a daily life. And the environmental exposure, we can categorize the environment to the lat long and to a very refined scale. And then temporally, we can do it in every 1 second. And not only if we can categorize, the environmental exposure to that real, and we also track people of the daily trajectory. So this is, the daily life of a Muslim woman in the United States. And then the color code is on how their feelings. And then, so how do we get the feelings and emotion is also, and perception of the environment is also very important. And of course, I don't have time to explain, what is my major revolution, in the field, the uncertain geographic context problem that I articulated in 2021 that become one of my most highly cited papers. But this is using different kinds of technology, motion sensors, and, articulating a major problem that is, then if we look into the geographic context incorrectly, then actually it's making, invalidating a lot of the environmental research result. That means that you can actually throw away a lot of the papers because they are in error. Yeah. So, and then the neighborhood effect averaging problem is looking into human mobilities. We can summarize the people moving around, and then also that is, like important for average, like that exposure. Then again, like this is also talking about you can actually flow away a lot of the neighborhood effect, papers because they also identify, like the mobility and neighborhood effect incorrectly. So, and then I think I have to be faster. So then I will be, talking about my research in a more quicker way. Then using remote sensing technology, we can see car movement. We can identify every single car in all the streets in Hong Kong, and of course globally, because we are seeing, the world that all this from, from the sky, so happen. Yeah. So we can do prediction by training the pre-trained AI model. We can do this, and then we can also look into the gas, the like carbon neutrality, because all the government are talking about carbon neutrality 2030, 2060, but however 2050 in Hong Kong, but however nobody actually have measurements. Then we actually using satellite, carbon satellite, also to the very precise, like much more precise resolution, then we can actually do, carbon neutrality estimation and looking into the source identification. This is the very big project funded by ITC recently, and this is, also, like promoted by the government. So, and then also we can looking into the carbon, like things for flood monitoring and emergency response. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, this is in Cantonese. Yeah, but what it's saying is that we can use remote sensing data to look into flood monitoring and emergency response. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that so this is we already launched two satellites from the ISCIS from our research institute, and one is about the youth like satellite, and this is an experimental. It's already launched in 2024, and it is decided and developed and like and also made by our like research institute, and also the data come back will go to the for research of people. So the research, and then the just this February, like the CUHK satellite, is the first, like AI, model incorporating deep sea, into the satellite. So the calculation actually is in the sky, in orbit, AI model that is actually the world's, first one. Yeah. So serving, sustainability. So all this scientific, like development is also feeding into our, like getting into the data, feeding into different kind of application. So we also have the aerospace science, informatics, and double major program at CUHK, and then we also open, like we have some promotion to the high school students to provide them with a dream. I always think that not everybody can go to, like the rocket on and go to, like but we can study the information from the like aerial space. So this is something that a double major at CHK. So my career path, I get quite a lot of honors and and rank quite like a lot of difference, rank high in my field around the world. And then also recently, I got the World Academy of Sciences and also the Hong Kong Academy of Sciences. Uh, and then a Lifetime Achievement Award and also contributing to entrepreneurship. Yeah. And then the United Nations visited us like because we also, like Southeast Asia and Asia, and then we also contribute, use our, my research also contribute quite a lot to the United Nations research agenda, and also especially in emergency response and sustainability. And so all this, like I think about the quality, about, like the key thing is that from my career is to think and solve problem independently. I think this is a very important. And like the fact that I cross different fields and then also not just, combining different things in partially, but actually went to the top of each field, but be able to integrate them. I think is also a very important thing. For example, remote sensing, doing the AI model in orbit, I think we are the number one in the world, world class and research, at least, the tops, yeah. And also also in the environmental research field. And the other way is that I always concern about the community and also the society. And then, of course, technically it needs to be, important adaptability and also have a cross-cultural awareness. So many of the, like think that, oh, yeah, we got many awards and it is very easy. But actually, everybody has their own big era. As a woman of color working in the United States, actually not everything is very easy. And then also that face, a lot of discrimination. So that's why I keep working harder and harder and persistent. And then my CV get longer and longer. So that means that, I realize that, like I cannot think about and ask for people treat me fairly, but this is something that we must be striving for the future generation. So subconsciously that people may have prejudice, but I would think that, like, for example, as a woman scientist, then this is very difficult to, like, because there are very few of us, like, people, I mean, it's not explicit, like, but people subconsciously may think that, oh, men are, they're all, all around. So they may be not very accustomed to. I think through education and awareness, and I think that we need to be, like in school, curricula, we need to be promoting equal opportunity for all, regardless of race, gender, and ethnicity and other characteristics. We need to cultivate empathy and understanding, encouraging through promoting cross the dialogue, diversity training program, creating space for open dialogue, about biases and discrimination. Some of them we may not even be aware of, and being always kinder than necessary. So in conclusion, so I would like to think about everybody will face their own big era. I think that always people, like of our generation would be thinking, oh, we are facing so many difficulties. And so our, this generation is not easy and that kind of thing. However, I would like to propose that actually everybody in the past, in the future, would face their own big era, and we all face our own big grand challenges, and we need to be persistent. I will always think that we don't need a brilliant person to do good research, but need a persistent person. We do not want to compare with others. Always be kinder than necessary and embrace the difference. And my last words, is that, like just like our Chung-Chi College board chair said, we need to, like be good, in physical and also in, like and physical activities and also in our studies. And then we need to put ethics and also talent together, and the spiritually we need to be calm. And as the first head of the Chung-Chi College, and I want to inspire and motivate everybody to realize that in infinite possibilities, so everybody get a chance. And then also lastly, this is our research institute in at night, so I welcome you to come and visit us and explore the infinite possibilities. And thank you.